Good evening, madlang people! Good evening, everyone! And of course, to our esteemed guest, my co-host, hi Mitch, hi Miriel. Kumusta kayo, guys?
Hey there, once again, everyone.
Hello, we're back!
Hi, everyone, and of course, to our listeners, and welcome to the second episode of Padayon Life Beyond the Clinics podcast. Muli, ako po ang inyong host. I'm Gab Paragas from SCOME, UST.
Hi, once again, I'm Michelle Bascara from AMSA-UST.
And it's Paulene Viacrusis from SCORE, UST.
So again, last night, we have talked about the introduction on some career opportunities that nagdadala after getting that MD, after graduating med school, aside from clinical practice. We introduced 3 interesting and equally fulfilling careers in research, public health, and also the Academe. So once again, join us as our speakers for this evening. Again, Dr. Cassandra Coronel, Dr. Gerald Alcid, and also Dr. Miriel.
Okay, so we now proceed with the second part of our podcast. So this is also the final episode of our podcast because we will be please be ready because we will be flashing these questions at warp speed faster than the speed of light. Get ready. To our speakers, we are about to play Slapbook, this or that. So to our guest speakers, the mechanics are simple. You will be given choices on the screen and you simply just have to choose one and maybe give a short description on why you choose that. Game po, mga docs?
Game na ba kayo, mga
Game
docs?
na!
Game na!
Game na! Alright, let's begin with our first question.
Alright, thank you for that, Miriel. Of course, for our first question, syempre, nandito tayo ngayon mga medical students. It's time to bring out your bias, mga doc. What was your favorite subject in med school? Isip na tayo in 3, 2, 1. Let's go with you, Doc Cass. Doc Cass, kayo na po muna.
Why is clinical epidemiology not on this slide?
Oh my goodness.
I'm just joking. Official.
So, official. Nandito kasi si Doc
Oh no, actually, it's because it's very not only because Doc Elcid, of course, Doc Elcid, but it's also because I really like I said, very intuitive, and I really like how systems work, and so of course Fisho is also one of the major things. So yeah.
Tapos sabihin ni Doc Afuang, ba't walang PrevMed or public health dito? No? Let's go with Doc Afuang. Doc Afuang po, what's your favorite subject in med school?
Yeah, you read my mind, Gab. Anyway, among the choices there, Flash, I would have to choose Pedia and OB. Since the didactics, I would always love Pedia OB. Onwards to the clinical, yung mga rotation. So enjoy ako sa mga rotations ko dyan sa Pedia and OB.
Alright, thank you po, Doc Afuang. Doc Alcid, kayo naman po.
Because I'm a surgeon, it has to be physiology.
Parang nag-isip ako bigla na sasabihin ko Doc Alcid kasi prof ko si Doc Alcid sa physio at sa surgery.
Yeah, Gab's a student. Yeah. Well, I love physiology. I think every student of mine would say I'm so passionate about physio. So I love physiology because basically this is what we teach students about the normal, because I always believe you cannot treat a patient without knowing what is normal. So you have to understand physiology.
Yes, tama po yan. And lifeline talaga ng profession natin as future physicians, that we ensure that sa academe pa lang or sa medical education pa lang, we produce we produce good physicians even inside the classroom. Thank you for that, Dr. Alcid. Syempre, favorite ko si Dr. Afuang. Baka mamaya maano sila. So, Pedia OB, and then kay Dr. Coronel naman po, nasabi po ninyo kanina, Clean F, about physio. And then kay Dr. Alcid naman po, surgery and then physiology. Ikaw, Mitch, ano ba sa'yo?
Actually, for someone na nasa med school, parang wala. Charot. Pero actually, hirap ako sa lahat. I mean, ang dami kasi.
Ang makabobo ng med school, no?
Ang dami mo kailangan i-understand. Pero so far, physio din yung favorite ko kasi akala ko dati nung undergrad, alam ko na lahat. Pero hindi naman alam ko na lahat. Like, parang gets ko na kung paano nangyayari yung mga bagay-bagay. Pero nung napag-aralan ko yung facial, grabe, ang dami ko palang hindi alam.
Right.
So, ayun. Like, yung mga mechanics, no? Grabe.
True. Wala bang magsasabi ng pharma dyan? Oh, sige, si Miriel. Miriel, ikaw.
Ay, nako, huwag niyo po ako sa pharma. Joke lang.
Pharma.
Pero, kasi some of these subjects hindi ko pa na-encounter. Kasi I'm beginning med school just this upcoming school year. But sa lahat po na experience ko, I guess I have to give my vote also to physiology kasi it really helped me grasp the basic concepts. And up till now, that I'm second year deep med, I still apply my learnings from physiology last school year. So yeah, good.
Yeah,
Kuya Gab, kayo naman.
Ay, thank you po. Natakot ako bigla kasi nandito nga si Dr. Alci. Prof ko kasi sa situation saka sa search. But anyways, kidding aside, no, and biases aside and fear aside, I really love physiology. I also used to tutor physiology with MSc before, no. But sige, removing surgery and physiology, of course, I think micropara has a special place in my heart kasi it has so much relevance in public health. Specifically, kung gusto mo talaga mag-serve sa mga barrios, marami tayong mga sakit na pwedeng matreat din dyan. So, pharma is also one of my favorite subjects. But sino pa ba lolokohin natin? Marami talaga memorization. So, yeah, it's a love of mine, but it's hard to love dahil marami nga siya. I think that's it for this first question. Take it away, Mitch.
For our next question, work agad or moonlighting?
Ano yung moonlighting?
Moonlighting, just for everyone's information, sa mga hindi nakakaalam, yan yung mga mag-work ka sa madaming hospitals, tapos yung work hours mo is 4 to 5 hours lang, tapos nilipat ka na naman, pero you're not employed. Ayun.
Oh my gosh. Sige po. Anyone who would like to start?
Work agad.
Sige po, Doc. Bakit po work?
I think when you move,
Have you ever considered moonlighting?
I never considered moonlighting because I was so focused on wanting to become a surgeon. I really want to become a surgeon kaagad. So I think it's just going to be a waste of my time because gusto ko naman yung gawin ko kaagad na ma-achieve to become a good surgeon in the future. So if you're focused in what you want to do talaga, I think you have to choose your work. Ano ba yung work agad kasi? Trabaho baging doktor or without specialty? Sorry, na-lost ako dun.
Me too.
Yeah, when you say work agad is after graduation, you
After
work.
medicine yata. After medical school, I think that
Kasi after medical school, I don't think you have that so many opportunities if you're just as a general practitioner. So I was thinking about working right after my residency program. So I would still go for residency first, and then. Sorry, we don't even know what's moonlighting when it was my time. No? Hindi ko alam na term na yan, yung moonlighting na yan. You can just see the age gap. So, wala kaming moonlighting noon class.
Doc, I don't think it's an age gap. I think it's the wording because work agad, moonlighting is also work. Actually,
Yes.
moonlighting
it's also work. Yeah,
is various work. I think the better term is instead of work agad,
Training.
baka you can use residency diretso, like diretsong residency versus
Kala ko kasi
moonlighting.
work is residency.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, delete yung question ng item analysis. So,
Item analysis.
Parang pinakote ata tayo.
that will not be part of the MPL already.
Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you po for that. For sige po. Training versus moonlighting po siguro. Go ahead po, Doc.
Well, I mean, if this goes both ways, right? So, like, if you are already knowing exactly what to do, of course, go to residency. Why hesitate? You know, that's your passion. Why would you hesitate? You know, but if you're if you're not sure on the path that you want to take, moonlighting, I believe, would be a very good way for you to enter a professional setting in a more capable, licensed manner, right? So, for instance, why would you enter pedia just because you like pedia, but you don't know that that's exactly what you want to do? Because I have so many batchmates na they started the residency in one field, and then like tuloy-tuloy, like after 1 year, they're like, I don't think this is for me, and then they start residency all over again in a completely different field, you know. So in cases like that, I would suggest moonlighting, because you would know, I guess, you as a professional outside of medical school, what you're capable of and what you truly enjoy. But again, if you are really knowing what you want to do, sige, go ahead, residency na.
Thank you po, Doc. And Dr. Afwang.
Yes. Yes. So, actually, I kinda also associate yung work agad, because when I entered into residency, may position kasi eh. So may sweldo din ako kahit paano. So I was working at the same time getting the training. And also yung mga iba na, you know, they went into being a city health officer or working in the health center. They also go into training, no? Nagma-masters yan in public health or masters in public administration. So, pwede mo namang i-combine, no? So, I also agree with Dr. Alcid. Nung time ko, baka pareho tayo, Doc, mag-usap tayo minsan. Oo. Kasi wala ring idea sa moonlighting. Naririnig ko na rin yan later, but then it didn't occur sa akin kasi I wanted to really still train. Oo. And pero pag nag-training ka, kasi ako, I would have to say na hindi na ako nag-subspecialist kasi nung pumunta ako sa rural, I didn't see the need to go into neonatology. Kumbaga, mag-fit na ako talaga as a pediatrician, no? And then yun kasi, no, talagang more of generalist, no? Yun na, yung mga basic talaga, basic specialty, kailangan din talaga yun. So nasa sa estudyante yan eh, tama si Dr. Cassandra. If you're really decided to go into a specialty training, then go ahead, no? Go ahead. That will kasi ngayon there's a sense of credibility eh, if you went through a residency or a specialty training, kasi you can fit everywhere, no? With that kind of specialty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Docs. Let's proceed with our next question. So this one's a bit spicy, if we may. Can we have the next one? So the next question would be money versus fulfillment. Money or fulfillment? Of course, we also have to consider the practical side. So what would be what you guys think would be a priority? Money or fulfillment? Let's start maybe with Doc Afwang naman po.
Okay. It depends. It depends. I married kasi at the age of 38. No? So I had I was single for the longest time. And during that time, I was into fulfillment because my parents did not need my support during the time, no, for my siblings. So I was really working on fulfillment, and that is when I went into the public health, no? Kasi I have only myself, no, to take care of in terms of finances. Ito, may konting anecdote lang ako, no? Yung mga kasabayan ko sa Palawan during that time, yung mga nagpa-private practice, they really encourage me, sige na, Adi, kunin mo na yung position na yan, total dalaga ka naman eh. Ibig sabihin, wala talagang pera, no? Kasi they have to raise their children, send them to college, etc. So yun. Pero nung magkaroon na ako ng anak, no, when I medyo nagkakaroon na talaga ng element na kailangan talaga, no? You have to really support you. And maganda naman kasi I had a chance to work into the Academe and also to work with international organizations na medyo maganda yung pay. So ang ganda ng mga timing na ganon. But then now, no, balik ako sa DOH, there is still fulfillment, and at the same time there is also money, no, because of the security of tenure. No, so between the two, I would still go for fulfillment. But at the same time, hindi naman dapat kasi nababackside masyado yung money. Okay? So fulfillment and secondarily the money involved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Doc. So sort of best of both worlds din po, ano. Okay, can we have maybe Doc Alcid?
Okay, why choose when you can have both?
Right.
Because when you have a lot of money, I think you will be fulfilled. So that's actually not being that's being realistic.
Realistic,
There's
practical as well.
Practical as well. So there are different ways on how you're going to be fulfilled. So there are different types of fulfillment. So I think you cannot separate money from fulfillment. So, but this will really depend on the person. So sinasabi nila yung iba, they don't care about money, but I don't believe them. Kasi sabi nga, di ba, lahat naman ng ginagawa natin ngayon, everything that we need, we want, it entails also money. But basically, the bottom line here is whatever field that you want to go into, I make sure that it's something that's rewarding and fulfilling as well. No, the money really will come, will follow. It will really follow. Like, I mean, for my case, I'm an academician. I'm not saying that I'm not earning very well in being an academician, to be honest. No? I'm earning as a clinician, but I am fulfilled in teaching. It gives me sense of fulfillment. So, iba-iba yun. But for me, if I can choose between the two because I can have them both.
Wow, we aspire to have both as well, Doc. Thank you for that. Last but not the least, Doc Cass.
Well, I'm from Southern California, so we speak Spanish here. There's a saying, ¿por qué no los dos? Like, why not both? I agree with Doc Alcid. Of course, I'm not trying to make sip, but I totally agree. Like, why not, right? Like, we live in a day and age where we can try to fulfill both. Why not? I also come from a business background, right? Like, as mentioned, coming from a business economics background, of course, we cannot disavow the impact that money, finances, and just like general economics have on our day-to-day lives, right? Like, you have to pay the bills, you have to pay the roof over your head, you have to pay for, like, your clinic, right? You have to pay for something, right? So we can't obviously like say, oh no, money has no issue, no place here in medicine. But of course, we have to acknowledge its importance. So while you are you find your fulfillment somewhere. Like for me, it's like giving back, volunteering, of course, like mentoring, like the upcoming generations. Like I find like a fulfillment in that. But of course, do I get paid in mentorship? Of course not. That wouldn't really be mentorship, would that? That would be teaching. But of course, I would love also to enter the field of teaching as well. So the word fulfillment would have to come in three prongs, right? The first one would be personal fulfillment. At what point are you personally fulfilled in your everyday life? Can you wake up in the morning and look at yourself and say, hey, I'm proud of you. Proud of yourself, like look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yes, we've got this sort of thing, right? And then of course, There's the professional fulfillment of like, am I doing everything that I can in the field that I've chosen? Have I pushed the barriers? Have I become what I wanted to be, if not more, professionally? And of course, there's the societal aspect of like, have you like personal fulfillment, societal fulfillment in regards to family and those around you, and like, have you done your part to make the world a better place, sort of thing. So yes, when you find those three avenues, and they don't necessarily have to be the same, like Doc Alcid mentioned, like he finds his professional fulfillment via his career as a surgeon, and his personal fulfillment as an academic, right? So like, you don't necessarily have to have all three built into one career, right? So be open and flexible to finding those different things and what defines you as an individual, and don't define yourself just as a medical professional, but like what you can do to fulfill all three of those different types of fulfillment, all while earning, of course.
Well said po, Doc. So I like what you said then po. It doesn't come in one shape and size, and really it has different aspects in your life that constitutes the whole idea of fulfillment po.
All right. Thank you so much for Dr. Coronel and all of our doctors for answering that. We're down to our last three questions here. But I think this particular question is related to the anecdotes that you have shared earlier, no? The question is, which is the better teacher? Is it triumph or failure? Is it the wins or the losses that you've experienced? Sige, let's have Doc Alcid first. Doc Alcid, since kayo po ang teacher dito, kayo po ang unahin po. Which is the better teacher? Is it the triumph or the failure?
I think it should be failure. It may be I think it will be the failure. No? So it may be the harshest one, but knowledge gained by failure lasts longer and gives one a chance to come back stronger with a better reasoning. So failure is not fatal. No matter hard it is, one should know that it simply means you get another shot to try one more. So I think it would be failure.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc Alcid. That's short and sweet. What about Doc Cass? Doc Cass, of course. Let's have you.
Yes, I agree. Failure is such an important teacher. I think if someone would like be triumphant in everything that they did, like have they actually grown beyond their comfort zone? I think having the courage to actually fail and try something new and be something different, and just like in order to be the person you want to be, you have to let go of the person you are, right? So in order for you to do that, you have to learn to be adaptable and courageous enough for you to push those boundaries. And while pushing boundaries, you are bound to come across failure. And so, yes, harsh, but necessary.
Harsh, but necessary. Thank you so much, Doc Coronel. And of course, last but not least, Doc Akwang. How about you po?
Yeah, I would have to agree. We have we always say that experience is the best teacher, but between having good experiences or the triumphs and that of failure, I would also say that it's the failure that you have experienced that would really motivate you. That for you to come up again and move forward and be better at that particular field that you are in. So failure is also moving out of your comfort zone and doing the best that you can, doing better the next time around. It is also important in life at the same time.
Thank you so much, Doc. And I actually agree, no? I actually agree on that. Nakakatakot lang siya sa med school. Tama ba? Tama ba, Miss? Tama ba? Tama ba, no? Miriel? Kasi parang...
Paano po bagsak?
Oo, kasi pag sabi ng tatlong panelist natin na failure, agree naman tayo, pero as medical students, Try example mo sa
Actually, minsan natatandaan mo pa yung mga tanong na nagkamali ka pa
Nagkamali
kaysa
ka.
sa mga tanong
Yeah.
tama ka.
Yeah.
Totoo yan. But the insights, tama, I think the three facilitators, tayong tatlong facilitators, we all agree with the same, that there is something that failure can teach that triumphs cannot. Kasi parang failure pushes you also to become a better person. And because you
Nice.
have failed, you also get to understand with compassion the other people that you're serving in the academe, in public health, and also with research. So maraming salamat po dyan. Okay, take it away.
Much drop. Okay, so for the next question, this is something really lingering in my mind. This is for someone who grew up in abroad, and also for someone who came, from this context lang, galing lang akong Dubai. So, So, for someone na actually medyo naiisip-isip ko na siya. So, for our next question, would you rather work? Ayan na siya. Ayan na siya. Ayan. Locally or globally? Yeah, let's start with Doc LC first.
Oh, local or global in terms of work? Okay. Sige. I think it's obvious, no? I'm in Manila, so. But if you can go global, why not? No? Because as they say, the world is your oyster. No? All opportunities are open to anyone. So as long as you have the grit and guts to grab and hold on to it, you can pursue global. But it really depends on what you like. But for me, I chose to stay here and be of service to our Filipino patients and to become an inspiration also to aspiring medical students. So I would go either, but I chose to be local.
Thank you, Doc. So next po, Doc Afwang.
Yes. I would have to choose both, no? Both, why both? Tama si Dr. Alcid. I will stay in the Philippines and contribute whatever I can, no, to the progress and development of this country. But at the same time, ang dami ding opportunities, no? We have the internet, we have conferences, no? Now that we have the COVID experience, we know, no, na ang dami talaga, no? Mga conferences that you can attend online. So we could still be globally connected and we could still adapt globalization. I think wala tayong choice eh. We have to be global where we are. So while in the Philippines, we can still be globally oriented.
Thank you so much, Doc Afwang. Next po, Doc Has.
I think this is I think like this kind of like defines like who I am, I guess. Like I have to say global because while because I'm dual, I'm bicultural, so like the fact that I'm Filipino American, like it by definition requires me to be global. So like of course like I grew up in the States, but of course I'm also like a very proud Filipina. You cannot like also ignore that. I went to school in the Philippines. I love the Philippines, so it's kind of like I have to be global to acknowledge both sides of my identity. But of course, like on these terms, where I am, it is very important to make an impact on where you are too. So just because I'm in the States does not mean that I cannot make an impact in the Philippines. Just because I'm in the Philippines doesn't mean that I cannot make an impact in the States. And just as Dr. Fung said, like we have to move towards globalization in this day and age, and we can't ignore the fact that the world is becoming both smaller and larger at the same time. So we need to adapt to that. And globalization, as much as we would love to say that we are locally based, we have to also be adaptable to our global presence as well.
Yeah. Can I just add just a little bit? No, ayoko lang lumipas sa isip ko. Yun yung parang yung sinasabi ko kanina sa chat boxes. Para sa neuro, what they're saying is think locally and act globally pagdating sa management ng stroke. Pero I think that can also apply with us. I think what students and what we can also learn. I think AMSA nga yung question natin because it's talking about globalization and all. But what we also have to realize is that whatever we're doing now locally has a global impact in the future. So that's why we need to prepare ourselves. We need to be mentored. We need to seek good opportunities. We all have something to contribute, I think, in the future. Kaya ang isipin natin, whatever we're doing locally can actually impact the global stage. That's why we need to better ourselves. That's just something that I want to add. Ako lang yan.
Yeah, thank you so much, doctors. Parang ang sarap nyo kasamang magkape. Magkwentuhan na tayo kasi magkakape.
Kape po tayo next time.
Yeah, next time coffee.
Palagi ang morning, magganitong mga wisdom yung ma-absorb mo, no? Diba?
True. So much learnings.
So much learning. Ayan.
So I suppose this boils down to our last question, and it's a very heavy, should I say, question, because we've been talking about like the things the opportunities and the learnings and the whole experience of having an MD degree and pursuing so much and contributing so much to our society and to both locally and globally. But we have to ask, can we show the slides? I'm gonna wait for the slide so it's like dramatic effect. Okay, if not a doctor, then what would you have pursued?
Dun.
Lakad na.
Ganun na po.
Let's go with Doc Akwang.
Okay. Nito tricky, no? Napaka-tricky ng question. Ako, my answer to that is I will still be a doctor. I would still be a doctor. Kasi ang learning ko as a physician, and I know my colleagues will agree, ang doctor kasi ang daming niyang facets Yung ang daming, parang yung pwedeng puntahan, no? Ang daming opportunities open to you, no? So, like what you're seeing now, no, aside from being a clinician, which na parang feeling ko nga, naranasan ko nga yata lahat, no? So, naging clinician ako, although hindi ako nag-subspecialize, and I really enjoyed it, no? The practice looks lucrative, no, when I was starting in Palawan. And then I moved sa pagiging DOH, no, public health practitioner, may konting background din sa hospital administration kasi minomonitor namin. You're opening yourself to another field. Doktor ka, pero you're opening yourself to another field of practice. And then I also joined the Academe kasi di ba I'm also holding a nursing degree. So 6 years ako sa Academe. And then naka-experience din ako to work with international organizations. So ang dami, no? Ang dami talaga. So if you're going to ask me, being a physician, I would still choose to be one because it's opening a lot of opportunities for us, and we could, in a way, contribute dun sa mga next generation. No, lagi namin sinasabi, it's also fulfilling to see that we are also being inspired by our colleagues. At the same, particularly my batchmates, no, na-inspire ako talaga sa kanila, and at the same time also inspiring, no, the future generation of doctors. So yun, yung legacy na ibibigay mo sa kanila is very mahalaga talaga para sa akin ngayon. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Doc. Oh, this is so passionate po, no? Even in another life, you would still choose to be a doctor po. How about let's go to Doc Coronel.
I've actually thought about this so many times. When I was in college, I actually, like I said, business economics first. And then I was like, oh, well, what about comparative literature? Oh, what about historian? What about, I went through so many phases. I even took like the LSATs which is like the law test that you need to get to enter law school here in the States. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, of course. But I think like if I were no longer, I guess like the question was, if you were not a doctor, what would you be? I would still choose medicine, but I would, if I wasn't a doctor, of course. The question would be, maybe I would probably go back into business. I have a very firm love of business economics and how it drives the world, and has an impact on not only individual but societal psyches and decision making. So I believe that's like super important. And so I feel like if I wasn't a doctor, I would still be in business, but more on the business aspect of healthcare. So I would still love to run a hospital, you know.
Right. It's like same service or same field of helping people, but maybe just a little different aspect of it.
Yeah, and you know what? As a doctor, who's to say that I still can't do that? You know,
Right.
Yes,
That's so true.
yes,
Maybe we
right.
could also consider
Yeah.
business side of medicine in our next
Oh, yeah.
Padayon podcast.
yes, you should.
Thank you for that, Doc. And last but not the least, may we have Doc Alcy?
Well, believe it or not, I wanted to become a priest.
Really?
Yeah. So, but they say you have to wait if there's a calling. No? I waited for it. Wala eh. Tinakwil ako ng langit. So, there was no calling. I think, sabi nga nila, if you are not destined to become something that you want, talagang may ibang purpose. No? I think my real purpose really is to be of service to our Filipino patients. I mean, to become a good surgeon. And now I'm an academician by, and not default, but it's actually after being a surgeon when I decided to become an academician. After finishing med school, I didn't really have no inkling on becoming part of the academy. But I had passion in teaching my younger residents. So I think that's how it started, no? My passion for teaching, and eventually becoming part of the Faculty of Medicine and Surgery. Now, if I'm not a doctor, probably I think like Cass here, I would be in the field of business. Well, what I did now, because I still want to be part of the business. Now I have my own business, no? So we can actually combine. No? You can now have both. Like now, I'm a practicing surgeon, I'm an academician, and I have also my own business. So, it's never too late, no? Kung gusto mo talaga yung something na hindi mo nagawa before, you can still do it. You can still do it. It's never too late.
Well said po, Tom. That's so true. At kahit ang tagal din ng pag-aaral for a degree, there's still so much that you can pursue. Not just the medicine, you could continue with your studies. You can practice even far from your degree. Like what you said po, business also. So
Yep.
yeah, thank you po. Thank you for that talk.
Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, no, sobrang ganda ng mga sinabi nila about the different aspects. I think all of them are still boiling down to serving serving the people pa rin, kasi with whichever field that you are in, you still contribute something in the betterment of the lives of other people. So whether it be a doctor, yun nga, sobrang hirap talaga ng choice. Kung ako nga sasagot nito, mag-theater actor ako or historian. Eh. Ikaw ba, Mitch? Ano bang gusto mo? Ikaw ba, Mitch? Ano ba? If not a doctor, then what, Mitch? Our friend
Actually,
from,
if not a doctor, feeling ko magiging journalist ako because I love writing. Hello!
Hello there!
Ang cute niyo naman.
We have a special guest this evening.
Yes. A
Junior.
future doctor.
Wow.
Hi.
Wow.
Yes.
So, ang saya naman nun, no, yung so, ayun, feeling ko magiging journalist ako, if ever not a doctor. Pero like, feeling ko ang either journalist or business din. Gusto ko din, baka magpapatayo, tutulong ako or magpatayo ng mga hospital, ganun. Pharmacist, pharma.
Si Miriel, ikaw, very fast lang. Sige, it's not a doctor.
Siguro, I considered quite a lot as well because I come from a family of engineers and I'm the only one who went like medicine. So I probably would have taken up chemical engineering, but I've also considered dentistry. Yeah.
Dentistry.
Yeah.
I also used to teach in dentistry, pharmacology, then and microbiology. And
Really?
actually, you know what? Sobrang we need to grow also more appreciation with these different fields. And I think ang bottom line ng lahat ng to, the whichever way that you actually go through, you play a part. Yun kasi yung ano eh, 'di ba parang it's another world when you go to public health. It's another world when you go to academe or to research. I mean, in comparison to I already know this endocrinology ito pupuntahan or gastro or cardiology ganyan. But with the non-clinical fields kasi they're different worlds. But I think the bottom line here is that they exist to serve a purpose in the world, and that is actually to better the lives of other people. And yun, sobrang ganda ng calling na maging isang doktor, and we all play a part in the lives of other people. And I believe yun lang. I do you guys agree that was so much fun? That was so much fun. Sabi ko,
ang daming wisdom. Grabe.
True. Sana po maulit po ito next year na maulit ito next year sa mga next natin na mga heads ng mga schools natin from UST and Sama San Beda and the participation. And sadly, this is where we actually end our podcast episode, at least for now. So I think before we end, I think mabilisan na lang. We only have a few minutes left, no? But I just want to ask our physician guests. So any parting words regarding your field that you want to share to those who are listening right now in this podcast? Sige, let's go first with kay Dr. Sige, whoever wants to go first.
Let's go. For the sake of time, let's go. I wouldn't maybe parting words, not necessarily just for the field of research, but just for everything, especially now. My parting words would just be, I know as we want to enter the healthcare field and our whole, I guess, purpose-driven lives are in the act of service, of course. But also, like, while we're taking care of others, we have to make sure that, take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves, not just physically or health-wise, but also mentally. Mental health is so important. So be sure to take care of yourselves and surround yourselves with people that will not just inspire you, but will allow you to grow and explore your identity and your purpose, and to feed that and to strengthen that, and to have like that active and healthy relationship with yourself.
All right,
Thank you so much, Doc.
Doc Alcid, let's go with you.
Okay, so again, guys, thank you for having us. I had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
The best advice I can give is to always stay strong and never give up. Always stay curious and focus on 3 G's: God, goals, and grind. So when in moments when you feel the most tired, frustrated, and disappointed, dig deep and find strength to keep pushing ahead. Choose a path that lets you become the human you want to be and make yourself turn into the kind of doctor you want to become in the future.
Very short and sweet. Thank you po, Dr. Alcid. And lastly, of course, Dr. Akwang.
Yeah, I agree with what was shared, no, by my colleagues, and just some few thoughts then to leave behind. First of all, not just in the field of public health, but being a physician is one that is service oriented, one that is people centered. No, so saying this, wala na eh, fulfilling talaga, no, maging physician. Pero hindi naman siya boring, no? It is very exciting, especially pag nasa practice ka na, no? Makikita mo talaga yung dynamism ng profession mo. At the same time, you can't help but be men and women of influence, no? So napakaganda nung iwan because you know that you are a change agent, no, of your whatever community you belong. No, may purpose ka, no, why you are there, no, in this particular field. I'm happy to say that the big influence siguro that I could say is my daughter, who is graduating from her undergrad course, is entering medicine, and decided on that. There's no force in doing that. No, I've told her all the negative, and yet na motivate siya into being a physician, especially during this during the COVID. And lastly, I would like to encourage our students, kahit long and winding road yung tinatahak nyo ngayon, no? Pero don't despair kasi ang daming yung magagawa, not only for your family but also for the community that you serve in, whether you practice here or abroad, no? Yun ang mga si Dr. Cassandra, very important asset natin siya, no, abroad, with the way she's dealing with her life there. And yes, Dr. Cassandra, I have to resonate yung self-care kasi I'm a mental health program coordinator of the Department of Health. And really, while you're studying, self-care is very important, no? Kasama yan sa growth natin as a physician. Later, kailangan we have to care for ourselves, love ourselves, so that we could also love others that we will be serving later on. Thank you.
Beautiful takeaway po, no, sa lahat po ng guest speakers. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. So, thank you so much po sa mga physicians natin for everything that they have shared. Grabe, Mitch, Miriel, kayo, anong nararamdaman ninyo right after that?
Alam mo, actually, sa totoo lang, nung mga una-una, nung mga kinikwento nila yung mga experience, totoo yun, hindi ako nag-sugarcoat na natitiri-eyed talaga ako. Kasi like, oo nga pala, ito nga pala. Pwede pa lang, alam mo yun, yung mga, ang hirap talaga kasi ng med school, no joke. Bago ako pumasok ng med school, alam ko na mahirap, pero hindi ko in-expect na ganito siya kahirap. Tapos maririnig mo yung mga ganong inspiring stories, yung wisdom nila, parang nag-spark talaga, like, this is the path talaga na gusto kong i-take, like, no other way. Tapos, ang dami nilang advice, alam mo, parang di sila stress sa buhay, parang,
Yeah, but I'm sure they had a lot of failures as well na nag-contribute sa experience nila that we shared. Oo.
Parang saya. Na-inspire ako lalo maging doctor talaga.
Truly. I think if I may share, kasi for us sleep kids, we're in our at least for the graduating batch na coming second year, we're in our third shift already, and then I think I could speak for the batch when I say medyo na-burn out na rin po kami. As in, parang at some point, parang gusto na lang, let's get this school year done with. But then after having this talk, really, I think it reignited the reason why I wanted to pursue medicine in the first place, and seeing that it's not really limited to like clinical practice. For instance, I myself is very, very interested in research as well. So hearing from Doc Coronel, and of course, hearing from other fields from the Academe, Doc Alcid and Doc Afwang from Public Health really is such a refresher and eye-opener.
True.
Yeah.
I think in particular, ang gaganda ng mga insights nila when they started talking about failure. And surprisingly, no, yung last question natin about kung hindi nila pipiliin ng med school. I think parang in-expect na natin and they would still choose to become physicians, but at the bottom line talaga, we all play an important role in helping other people and making lives better. That's why we need to continue. That's why we need to, make padayon kahit na mahirap yung ginagawa natin. Kasama din yung sinabi ni Mitch din kanina na nakaka-inspire na mag-continue to become physicians din. Ayun, ako in particular, sobrang na-appreciate ko. Nabalik ulit sa akin nung sinabi ni Dr. Afwang yung regarding helping people have ownership of their health or have ownership with decisions. When you empower people to stand up on their own as a physician, I think yun yung mahalagang role natin. Kaya ganun kaganda yung role ng researcher, yung role ng isang teacher in inspiring the next generation of physicians, and of course din yung mga public health din natin. Sobrang hands down, sobrang masaya ako na ginawa natin tong project na to.
Actually, ako din.
Truly.
Ang worth it pala talaga.
Yeah. Anything that you want to end with, guys?
Ako for something na feeling ko dadalhin ko all throughout ng med school is yung sinabi ni Doc Alcid yung 3 Gs. Diba? Parang, oo nga pala. God, goals, and grind. Actually, minsan nakakalimutan ko na yung goals. Parang gusto ko na lang i-grind to para matapos na. Parang, parang nalulose sight ako na, actually, pag sabog ka na, pag burnt out ka na, dami mo kailangan aralin. Gusto mo na lang tapusin, gusto mo na lang matapos yung aral, gusto mo na lang alam mo yun, parang gusto mo na lang pumasa. Ayun yun pala, parang gusto mo na lang pumasa. Pero, I was reminded and I was deeply humbled sa mga shinare nila na, oo nga pala, ito nga pala yung results. Continue.
Sa akin naman, I can't help but feel excited for the next Padayon. Ano kaya yung magiging next?
Yes.
No? Malay ba natin one day,
Tapos,
si Ate Mitch na i-invite natin dito. Kaya si Kuya Gab tayo i-invite.
Ay,
as speakers, diba?
Mga after ilang years, tayo ulit. Pero, guest speakers na mga yan.
Guest speakers.
And I hope then na maybe may ma-inspire din sa listeners natin. At saka one day, ma-invite din sila, diba? Or makarating din sila ng ganun kalayo as to how successful and how content our speakers are right now. Sana ma-inspire din yung listeners natin.
Yes, and inspiration really drives you to continue and to move further. Ibang mundo man yung ibang fields na mga sinabi nila. I'm just so excited for life beyond the clinics to continue in the coming years with
Tama.
format and still with the panel discussion. And I'm really, really excited for the future of this project, lalo na with what we have began this year. And with that, I think we have reached the end of our second episode and the culmination of one whole week ng ginawa natin ngayon sa Life Beyond the Clinics. This has been another season. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga nag-join. Gaya ng sinabi ni Miriel kanina, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga guests natin kay Doc Coronel, Doc Alcid, Dr. Afwang, and of course to the listeners who stuck with us for how many evenings na tayo, no? For Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. And also with, syempre hindi to maging possible without SCORE. SCORE, salamat for being with us. Of course,
Truly
SCOME
an honor.
Thank you. And of course, SCOME-UST, this is my last project with SCOME-UST for this year. Maraming salamat po for being with me for the past year and for also inspiring the next generation of physicians with good ideas and magaganda mga projects din. And of course, syempre, salamat po sa national team and of course, kasama San Beda. Maraming salamat. You made this project possible.
Yeah.
Once again, this has been Gab Paragas.
And I'm Michelle Bascara.
And Paulene Viacrusis.
And this is Padayon, Life Beyond the Clinics podcast. Sign off. Maraming salamat. God bless. Padayon.
Padayon.